Do you know what I actually found going from 1 to 2 a lot harder than going 2 to 4?
Do you know what? I have heard so many people say that. Not so much the 2 to 4, because that's quite unusual.
Double kids.
But the 2 to 3, fine. But the 1 to 2.
It's a shock. It is literally a shock to the system.
Yeah.
And then we did IVF. We did 3 rounds of IVF. So I had like the injections and everything like that, and like the egg collections, and then you wait till they get to day 5.
How long were you doing that for then?
1.5 years.
Oh wow! So it wasn't.
It wasn't. We couldn't just go out and just pay. It was so much money.
Yeah.
So we had to keep saving, and then like I did my first one. I was really lucky. I got one decent embryo, and we popped it in. Didn't work, unfortunately. It was just a negative. Then I thought it'd be a good time after finding it was negative to go to IKEA for the day. I was like, let's get out. He's like, where do you want to go? I was like, let's go to IKEA. And he's like, I think I'd lost the plot.
I know. One of the most stressful places in the world.
I'm dragging the kids around IKEA. They're like,
oh God, you took kids there.
Yeah, I took kids. Why not? Just add that little bit more stress.
Yeah, why not?
I've taken the kids around IKEA and I'm crying the whole day. My husband's like, I think we need to go home. I was like, no, I need to get this new table. I haven't got the baby, but I'm getting this table.
Oh God.
So yeah, we've just ended up like walking around this IKEA, and yeah, what a day. And then we did another IVF. Didn't get any embryos to day 5. They all like started dwindling off. And then the last one, we were really lucky. Now, it was very funny. We I think we waited 9 months between the second round and the third round.
Yeah.
And my husband's really funny about going into this room and doing his business.
I could kind of understand. I mean, you're not going to be...
He freaked out about it.
You're not going to be horny, are you?
No. Every time he's freaked out about it, he's like... there's so many men in this room doing it. I can't do it. And like I keep thinking maybe it's stress, maybe his sperm comes out and it's stressed out of its nut.
Yeah.
So I went, look, I'll do it. So I'm gowned up before.
Is that a thing? You allowed to?
Yeah. We asked him. We spoke to the clinic. So just before, obviously, like we're doing the deed. I've done the deed.
Oh my God.
Obviously not allowed to go near me. It's just
Yeah.
And
has it just got to be your hand?
Yeah, just my hand.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I know. I can't believe I'm sharing. People are like, oh my God.
This is brilliant.
So I've done that. But do you know what? We've got a cup, and I'm doing it, and like it's gone all on my hands and on the floor, none in the cup. I'm like, shit, because he can't just release again. It has to be like that one. He's had to like stop for 3 days doing anything.
Oh, do you?
Know what I mean?
Have to like pause?
Yeah, trust me, I was paused anyway. I was like, mate, you ain't coming near me. I don't know what's going on. So I've got to keep these eggs safe. So you've got like this little cup thing, and like, yeah, it's just gone everywhere, and I'm scraping this stuff off my hand into the cup. Anyway, she's come in. The woman's come in, knocked the door.
I love how you called it
jizz.
This stuff.
And I've literally like put it in the cup. She's come in. She's like, okay, and was the sample okay? I'm like, yeah, it was fine. She's like, okay. She didn't go on your hand or anywhere like that. I was like, nope, didn't go on the hand. Did not go on the hand like that. And he's like, later on, he's like, do you think you need to tell her? I was like, no, I don't want to tell her because she might. Like, what was if they don't want to do it? What was if they want to use frozen sperm? And I didn't want to use frozen sperm.
Yeah.
So. In the end, like, I'm getting put out just before you have, like, your egg collection. You're put out, you're all dozy.
Oh, right. Do you get put under?
Yeah, you get put under
right.
because it's a proper, like, invasive. They've got to go inside and take these little microscope eggs out of you.
Yeah.
And, like, I'm going under, and she's like, oh, it's okay. Like, are you okay? I'm like, yeah. And as I go under, I look up, I go, it went on my hand, and I scraped it in the cup. And she's just like... Okay.
Why did you do that?
I don't know, because I was out of it, and I remember doing it before I went under. I just like looked up at it and I was like, yeah.
Imagine if you'd then woken up and they've gone, yeah, we just had to wake you back up because we can't do it.
Yeah, we can't do
Imagine.
it. I literally looked up at went on my hand and I scraped it.
Was your husband there when you were being
No. So when I woke up, I sort of said to him, I told him. And he was like, what do you mean you told him? I said, I told him I scraped it in the cup. He's like, oh, for God's sake, Case. And then she's come in and I was like, is everything okay? And they said, the sperm's actually fine because they check it under a microscope.
Oh, so they check it anyway?
Yes. And then they got the perfect little one and they put it in there. And I always say, do you think it split because it was like on my hand? Like, I don't know how I don't know how it works. They don't know why they split. And I was always like, I've got magic hands. It makes embryo split.
And it was happy sperm.
Very happy sperm. Happy sperm. There was no stress with that sperm, apart from when it did come out, and I was like, "Oh my god!"
Well, Dee's done by that point. Though. Scrape it in.
Yeah, scrape it in.
The fact that you did that is absolutely incredible.
It's a hack.
So one of Casey's first hacks is listen. If it goes on your hand, just scrape it in.
Yeah, just scrape it in. Don't worry about it. You're stressed, but that sperm's not.
And then that one worked.
Yeah, that one worked. We got a perfect embryo. We actually got really good embryos that cycle, which is crazy.
That's amazing.
And they found the one, and it's really funny because I had to go for my embryo transfer, and I never forget, and it was frozen. So I went there. I had it in the September, and I never went to the January because I was doing all my fertility treatment, and I was ready to have this frozen embryo put inside me.
Yeah,
you have to wait a couple of months to calm down. And then I was all ready, everything was perfect. And then I had a smear booked in, and I thought, I'll go for this smear anyway. I didn't think anything of it. Literally, phone call 48 hours later, you've got SIN-free. You've got to have like part of your cervix removed.
Is that cancerous cells?
Yeah, well, it's pre-cancer. It's like it's SIN-free, but it'd grown really rapidly. And I was like, are you joking? Like, I'm ready to be transferred. And that was all going on in like December. I had like a part of my cervix removed and things like that. And they had to test if there was like clear margins around it.
Yeah, of course.
And we were really lucky. I got a bit of it removed and there was clear margins. And in January, like I spoke to them and they were like, you can go for your embryo transfer as long as you're not having two put in, you're only putting one in. And I was like, yeah, that's fine. I'm not having twins. As you said, it's like famous last words. Yeah. And so I had it put in the January, and I'll never forget the embryologist. Like, he looked up at me and I was like, is it okay? Is the embryo okay? And the embryologist is the person that literally looks after your embryo, looks after the sperm and everything. And he looked at me and went, it's the perfect embryo. And he winked. And I thought, oh, that's funny, he's winked. And I always think you knew it was splitting.
Do you think he knew?
Wow, I've read so much about it after. And they say they split between like round about day 5. And if they're starting to break out, it's like called hatching.
Yeah.
You can they say sometimes you can actually tell whether it is actually going to split or not. So he did, and he winked at me to say,
well, I was just coming on to you.
yeah. Or he's like, I've heard all about it. I've heard about no stress.
I know why this sperm's happy sperm.
Yeah. We're going to start getting you in to do everyone.
Yeah, you got a new profession.
Yeah, exactly. Just making everyone happy.
We don't
really.
need to do mum hacks anymore.
No, I'm not good at like aiming though. So it goes everywhere. You might lose half on the floor.
Oh God, I love it. So then you had your lovely little twin girls. Were they premature?
Yeah, they were premature. So they were 32 weekers.
Oh wow, so quite early.
Yeah, quite early. But all my kids have all been in special care for different reasons.
Have they really?
So I've never actually just like had a baby and took it home.
Oh, and how have you found that? Because it's quite a lot for someone to deal with.
Yeah, so I think my first one, obviously I was quite a young mum. So when I had my first and he was born, I had something called strep B.
Yes.
And when my son was a baby, literally not even 24 hours old, he just wasn't right. I think as a mum.
Yeah.
And people were saying, like the paediatrician was saying, you're a young mum. You're a young mum. And I was like, no, there's something wrong. I know. He keeps being sick. He keeps making these really grunty noises.
Yeah.
And I knew about all that anyway because I'd looked it up a lot because my cousin died of meningitis. So for us, we're very much like, we're on that. And that's one of the things that you can get from strep B. It goes to the baby.
Yeah.
And that's what he had. So at 24 hours, they literally, in the end, they believed me. Someone watched me feed him and he just puked up, and then she realised it wasn't right. They literally whisked him away.
Isn't it sad you've got to push for that though?
Yeah, terrible. I know someone that lost a baby due to that.
That's it. Like for anyone listening, like mother's intuition, strong.
It is strong.
Like,
it is.
You know if something's not right.
Yeah. 150%. It's like you've been attached to that baby for 9 months.
Yeah, they're a part of you.
And it is something. It's like even like scientists can't explain the fact that But it's actually, it's a real thing. We know as mums.
Yeah, we do. And it's like our primal instinct with things 100%. As well, isn't it? It's like we're just geared up to protect our children.
Yeah, we are.
Same with Cooper. If I give him a cuddle, I'm like, he's not going to be well tomorrow.
Yeah.
Because I can feel...
It's weird, isn't it?
It's just like a slight change in his body temperature.
You know.
I'm like, it's just a bit warmer than he normally is. And it might be like you know... Like,
no one would ever... No one would notice apart from you.
And he might be acting absolutely fine. And I'll know, I'll be like, I'm in for it tomorrow. You're not going to be well. Isn't it mad?
Yeah, you do. So, So
he was a poor
he was really poorly. And that was awful. Like, I was young. I was sort of like... oh God, I didn't know what was going on. It was my first baby. I didn't expect this. And then, but I don't know whether I would say I'm a strong person, but I'm very much level-minded, like level-headed. And I did say to like them, right, like, is it going to be okay? They were like, yeah, we think it'll be fine. I was like, right, okay, that's cool. Yeah. He's going to come home eventually.
Yeah, you just needed an answer.
Yeah, I needed to know, was he going to be okay? And that's fine. And if I know that, then I can deal with that. Yeah. And then my second son, down to hospital neglect, had something called HIE, which is it's brain damage because of hospital neglect. So it's lack of blood and oxygen. And that was due to medical neglect from the hospital. They left me bleeding out 19 hours and it was horrendous. We both nearly died. So that was a completely different thing for me. I was so angry when he was in special care.
Yeah.
So I handled that situation completely different than I did my first. And then with the girls, they were premature, but I was okay with it because I dealt with if I dealt with Kaiser and got through that, it was nothing. So they sort of like went in, they stayed there for 4 weeks. Yes, I missed them.
That's quite a long time,
yes,
isn't it?
Yeah, I missed them, but I knew they were going to be okay. And it was the same thing. Are they going to be okay? Yeah, they just need to put on weight and just, be able to eat. You know, they would literally like half an ounce each what they were eating. And you know what I mean? And they, even when they came home, they were only on like 2.5 ounces each.
Were
like,
they?
You know,
their little tummies were so small.
so tiny and small.
Oh my gosh.
So, it's not nice. Like, I wish that I could take them all home and obviously, you know, and do that. I suppose like the norm thing that you expect as a mother.
Just that little nesting at home to start off with.
And I think like my mum never had that. My mum just had easy labours, gave birth, left the hospital very quick with all the babies. So I think for me, especially as a mother to girls, I'll always explain the fact that things don't always turn out like that. Like birth, you know, people will paint this picture of beautiful birth and you come in and you're in the water.
Yeah, you're in the water.
It comes out and you feel this rush of love. I'll say sometimes you don't feel that. Sometimes they come out and you're like,
oh my God.
I didn't. When the first time they gave me my first son, I looked at him and thought, God, what am I going to do with this?
That's exactly what I did. I was like, oh no, I think I've made a terrible mistake.
Yeah, I'm not, and I'm a mum, I'm a proper mumsy mum. I'm like, oh, I love my kids, I love doing things. You can see I do by my page, that is me. But I didn't have that, you look at them in their eyes and they look up at you. And
and that's the thing, like people don't talk about that enough.
No.
That you're not always going to feel it instantly.
No.
Because a lot of people don't.
No.
And I feel like that's a massive part of like postnatal depression is
100%.
You put all that pressure on yourself to feel it instantly. And for me, it was a case of getting to know him.
Yeah, no.
I just needed to understand, I get to know him. And it took about 18 months for me.
Yeah, it does take a while. Yeah. And I don't think people sort of like, you're right, people don't talk about it enough.
No. And I think it's so important because it just makes mums feel less alone.
Yeah.
And dads, because, you know, it happens to dads
100%.
Too. So if you could give like anyone going through the IVF process any advice, one piece of advice, what would be your biggest bit?
I would say a lot can happen in a year. And now I'm out of the IVF. You feel like you're going to carry it with you for the rest of your life, but it's gone. Like, I don't think about it, and I don't think about the bad stuff that happened during it. I think about all the lovely stuff, seeing that pregnancy test.
Yeah.
Getting that embryo in it. And I look back and I think, it was such a nice experience. I don't know why, because it wasn't at the time. Yeah. But actually looking back, it was lovely because I got the end goal that I wanted. Yeah. And I just think a lot can change. I went for I went to see Santa on the December before I fell pregnant with before I had
you
the
by
girl.
yourself?
No, just no. Hello. So, listen, I'm going to sit on your lap and I'd like some babies for Christmas. If you could do anything about that. Well, I've heard about all what you do to men.
Yeah.
So, but I had a photo with Santa, me, my husband and the two boys.
Yeah.
And I got in the car. It was beautiful. We had a really lovely day. I got into the car. I opened the photo, looked at the photo. Husband's driving and I'm like, oh, and he's like, what in earth's the matter with you now? And I went, it's going to look like this next year. And he was like, what? I was like, there's going to be 2 kids. And I know I'm lucky to have 2 kids.
Yeah.
But there's going to be no baby and I'm not even going to be pregnant. He's like, you don't know that we've got an embryo. And I was like, but then I can't go and get it yet because of this stupid sin-free and that. But the next year, there's Santa with both babies in arms, and I've got the photo, and I look at them both next to each other, and I think like a lot can change in a year. So you think you're never going to get there. You see all these people who are pregnant, and one bit of advice I would give is if you get invited to a baby shower, and you've been trying, or you're going through IVF, and you don't feel like you can go, don't go.
Yeah.
Don't be honest.
Yeah, be honest and just say, look, I'm struggling with it.
I'm struggling. I'm so happy for you.
Yeah.
And I really am. But I don't want to feel guilty about not going. And I just know that I can't do it. I can't do it.
No, and that's it.
Don't do it.
You have to protect yourself. And if your friends are the best friends, they will understand.
Yeah.
They will
if they
go,
don't, that's them,
that's
not
on
you.
them. That is on them completely.